So, okay, welcome everybody. My name is Jill Davidson. I am a URI parent. I live in Providence, Rhode Island. Professionally, I am the Director of Development and Communications at the Woonasquatucket River Watershed in Providence. And in this role, I am the mother to Leo Eberman, who is a double major in environmental economics and history. He's a junior and from Providence like me. I have been a member of the URI Parents Council for almost a year. And I'm very, very happy today to bring you programming like this, and we look forward to you engaging in future topics as well. So a couple of notes before we start. Today's presentation is being recorded, and a link to the recording will be available afterward on the URI Alumni YouTube channel. And if you have any questions as the session progresses, please enter them into the Q&A box at the bottom. We'll be able to see them more easily if you put them in the Q&A than the chat. So put them in the Q&A. But in the chat, a lot of people have already done this. Feel free to share your student's major, where your student is from, and their current class year. And now it is my honor to introduce our panelists. Dr. Dean Libutti, Victoria McNeil, and Danielle Clabo will take us through the presentation today. Dr. Libutti joined URI in 1999 as Associate Vice President. Dean provides leadership in enrollment planning, recruitment, and retention through collaboration and partnership with faculty and staff. Co-presenting with Dr. Libutti is Director of Financial Aid, Vicki McNeil, and Danielle Clabo. Vicki joined URI in 2022, and prior to becoming a Rhode Ram, she spent 17 years in financial aid leadership positions. Danielle has worked in the financial aid office for 24 years. She works with the many federal financial aid programs, including Pell Grants and student loans, and she also specializes in merit scholarships. And together, they work with enrollment services to assist students and families with all of your enrollment needs, from understanding financial aid need and registering for courses to paying your bill and getting a transcript. So I can assure that I have dealt with all of you in my now almost 3 years as a URI parent, and I'm very grateful for your work. Their goal is to make handling the business sides of things as easy and seamless as possible for you, so you can focus on what really matters, which is getting the most out of your and your students' URI experience. So with that, thank you all for your work. I'm gonna pop off and hand it over to all of you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and it is great to have you with us today. Again, my first name is Dean, and it's my pleasure to be here with you today. And I'm going to actually have my two colleagues say hello first before we get started. So, Vicki, why don't you start us off?
Hello, everybody. My name is Vicki McNeil, the Director of Financial Aid and Enrollment Services, and I'm very excited to be with you today.
And I'm Danielle Clabo. I'm Assistant Director of Enrollment Services. Welcome, everybody.
Great. And again, Dean Libutti, Associate Vice President for Enrollment Management and Student Success. And one thing you should know about us is, besides the three of us helping facilitate this session, all three of us are parents. And we all are dealing with the idea of helping to make college affordable and accessible. So when we put this scholarship resources presentation together today, our hope is to give you some tips and tricks along the way. How this is going to work is I'm going to captain this, but I'm going to ask Vicki and Danielle to jump in at any time to provide some tips or clarifications. And then again, they'll also be monitoring the Q&A. So again, this is the three of us here. And today, our goal is to share some external helpful tools, review our great URI Foundation scholarship process, answer questions you might have. We're not going to do that in the chat again. We're going to do that in the Q&A. And then most importantly, provide some contact information. And maybe we'll have a little bit of fun along the way. So that is going to be our journey. And forgot to mention, I put in the chat that my son is a senior chemical engineering major graduating this year. And my daughter graduated from URI in nursing 2 years ago. So URI is in my blood in many ways. And I enjoy working with the foundation to help us support our students. Okay. So part one is going to be kind of some helpful free outside scholarship tools. And we have some websites on the bottom, and then Danielle and Vicky are going to add them in the chat as well. So how do you go out there and help find scholarships that are available? And so we have a couple of favorites that we would like to talk about. We define favorites the following way. Number one, they're easy to use. They are no cost to you or the students. They help make your job easy. And most importantly, they help you connect to the myriad of millions and millions of dollars that are available. And so you'll see here again, FastWeb, Apply, Rhode Island Foundation, and others. And what we did is I thought we'd go through a couple of them, because for those of you who've never used these before, I want to show you how easy they are to use and how they work. And again, the link is on the bottom of this page, and again in the chat for you to know about some of these links. Okay, so first let's take a look at FastWeb. So FastWeb, again, it's on the link, and they consider themselves the leading scholarship database. And while they're leading, you're going to see the next one that's a little bit bigger. And this is as simple as going to their website, and you'll notice this great little drop-down box that say Find Scholarships, and you create a simple profile. Now, you can do it as a parent or a guardian, like I was playing around with, or you can do it as a student. They don't ask for a lot of invasive information. They do want to get to know a little bit about you so that they can help match scholarships. But again, this is a site that is very simple as going to FastWeb and creating a profile. When you go to FastWeb and create your profile, you're going to need to add things like it's going to ask major, your interests, background. Now, as a reminder, as a parent myself who loves to do everything for my students sometime, this is their information. So as you're filling out the FastWeb, unless the students are on this webinar, you are providing the information of your student. And so sometimes it's great to have them on FaceTime or asking some questions if you're a parent helping them. Number two, what I like about it, it's free, requires an email and a mailing address, right? The option, you can actually get email updates on new scholarships that become available that match your requirements. So let's say you are a chemical engineering major from Rhode Island and you're interested in sensors, or you have something unique about yourself and that's already in your profile. It automatically matches you to the scholarship. And what's great is it reminds you of deadlines. I found it pretty easy to use. You also, the negative, or that little minus part you'll see there, is they will share information with third parties. And so you have to keep in mind that when you do some of these sites that you might start getting some of those calls and things. And so you'll see here, I did a quick match for my son. 63 matches came up, $171,000 potential. And while I know I won't get them all, at least it gives me an example of taking hundreds of thousands of scholarships into ones that could be qualified for. Vicky, did you want to share one of your favorite things that you have on that when you're sharing info with industry partners like this and using an email? I loved your tip.
Yeah, absolutely. The best tip that I can offer is to use a separate email address. Those are usually easy to create through Gmail, and having them separated will make sure that students are not missing replies about the opportunities and follow-up information, as well as keeping your general mailbox free of all of those ads that might come through as well. But I definitely recommend setting up a separate email address.
Great. Thank you, Vicky. I appreciate that. And again, FastWeb is one source. Oh, I forgot to mention, all the sites we're talking about today, URI has no sponsorship or affiliation with them. They're free resources to use to benefit. So I thought that would be helpful. All right. Now, one of my favorite ones that I've used for years is there used to be a company called CapEx that is now Apply, A-P-P-I-L-Y. And they consider themselves the nation's largest multi-billion-dollar scholarship database. And you want to know something? They are. They go out there and connect with tons and tons of organizations and nonprofits that use this site as a way to help promote their scholarship. So it's another great one. FastWeb is big, but this one is even bigger. Again, you'll notice they could even help you do things like college search and others, but you just want to go to the scholarship tab in the middle here. And again, you're doing something similar, searching for scholarships. Again, with this one, you need to create a profile again. Once again, it's free. In fact, if any site is asking you for money to pay for a scholarship, I would advise against it, and I know my colleagues do as well. Consider this the largest database, the most money. What I like about this search is it also lets you know how competitive each one is. And I said it's sassy to use, but how about easy to use? It's not sassy at all. And various searching features as well. And once again, your info may be shared with partners, so please keep in mind that you use that helpful hint of Vicky's email on that. Wanted to give you an example. I was able to do my scholarship type profile for my son, gender, ethnicity, grade level, all sorts of different requirements, and up come different scholarships. The ones up top are often available for anyone, like this is an essay contest from Scholarship Points. However, what's nice is all these other ones, like the Ellen S. Murphy one. Notice on the bottom here, it's a $500 scholarship. Effort to apply, right? That means, is it easy or hard? The more dots, the harder it is. And then competition level. One is not as competitive as the ones that have the one over here, for instance, to the right. Notice it's easy to apply. The effort is only 2 purple dots, but it's more competitive. And so just an example of a fun way to do that. Once again, it reminds you, it gives you matches, it tells you chances, and it's really terrific. And again, you'll notice the different deadlines. When I did this before for my son, they had some deadlines that were in the past, and again, some ones. So it's a great resource, very similar to FastWeb. If you like these sources, using one or the other, I think both have benefits, and they have mutually exclusive scholarships, so it's not like one will be on both sites. Okay, so there are others. And Vicki, did you want to talk a little bit about kind of your approach? I know that you talked about how to help people begin to think of finding scholarships and others, and then we can talk a little bit more about these other ones, but I loved your lens on how to approach other scholarship sites.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have seen quite a bit of success with students who apply for regional and local scholarships. Of course, the national scholarships are great and absolutely make the time to do that. But you do have a lot better of a chance of getting a substantial award. And oftentimes those awards are renewable through things like a community foundation. So for example, in Connecticut, in the Hartford region, there's a foundation called the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving. They give $4,000 awards that are renewable, and they don't have a very large pool of students who apply for those. So throughout, I'm actually going to be adding in from various states some of my favorite foundation scholarships into the webinar chat. And my best bet would be that you would apply for scholarships by doing a search for whatever your state is or whatever your region is, and then the terms community foundation, and I would start there.
Great, Vicki, thank you. So some other ones that we have here, and again, it's on the link to the bottom that you'll see here again, that's in chat. So RISLA is the Rhode Island Student Loan Authority. What I love about what they do is they have financial literacy scholarships where students take a financial literacy little activity. And their goal is to educate our students, our sons and daughters and Rhode Rams, and to help them on becoming financially literate in their life. And they have monthly scholarships. They have great contests. They're fun to enter. It's great information. So I'm a big fan of the RISLA Financial Literacy Scholarships. And then the College Planning Center of Rhode Island. Again, you all have students who attend a school in Rhode Island, is a wonderful resource, as is the Rhode Island Foundation. And again, great, as Vicki said, those local foundations often have less who apply. If you look at the Rhode Island Foundation, you'll see a lot of fantastic scholarships, including some for out-of-state students that say you just need to be attending a Rhode Island institution on some of them. So again, our goal with first these outside scholarships is understand there are resources available, they're easy to use, and with a little bit of effort, you can begin to see how they connect to your students' major areas of interest and others. However, let's talk about just URI, and this is where Danielle, Vicki, and team really do a wonderful job with our foundation partners raising money. We have over 2,100 scholarships that are awarded through our program. It's called Academic Works. We're going to talk about that in a second. We award over $3 million a year. You're going to learn that the process opens in a couple of weeks, and we're going to talk about that going through. So this is just a summary page. It's open to currently enrolled students at URI. So if anyone has a graduating high school student that's coming to URI next year, this would be available to them the following year, or for most of you who have students at URI. And what's nice is the deadline to apply is June 2024. So let's take a closer look at scholarships only available for URI students. So Danielle, do you want to talk a little bit about
Sure.
the premise of academic works for us?
Sure, thanks. So since we have about 800 or more URI Foundation scholarships that are available, we do consolidate all of that into one system, and it allows students to apply to as many of these scholarships as possible simultaneously. It's called Academic Works, and students can log in and essentially complete their application to many scholarships at once and take maybe a minute or so of time to do it. And this is because as a university, we have data on all of our students. It allows the software to match them to scholarships that their bio demo data, their GPA, their major, any of those types of data qualifies them for, and it will automatically put them in the pool for selection for those scholarships. So it's really quick and easy. The system then kind of uses the same type of an algorithm as some of the ones we've seen, like the FastWeb, where they will then present the student with any scholarships that they may qualify for, but require additional information, an answer to a question that's yes or no, or a short essay or something like that, or basically any information that we need to collect that we don't collect automatically. I think, Dean, you said that the deadline is June, but then we start to review these between July and usually sometime in November, we try and wrap things up. And then the student, if they get any scholarships, they do receive notification from the foundation and from our office as well. I will put the link to this Academic Works website in the chat. And I think we're going to actually, Dean, you're going to look at a couple of the slides from it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you, Danielle. So again, you'll see on this slide, My Apps portal, logging in. Your students have what's known as a single sign-on or a login information. It opens on April 15th. So the reason why we wanted to do this session now was to kind of help you educate. We send students emails and texts and lots of great information, but we want to give you a little bit of an inside look into, again, as Danielle said, over 800 plus scholarships, over 2,100 plus awards each year. So let's take a closer look. Okay, so when they log in, all students have to do a general application. Now, I'm pleased to say that what is in front of you is our general application. They log in. Again, it's not available now. It's available when? Starting April 15th. And they literally answer 3 questions. I hereby request the authorization of information in my student records to be going into this portal. I agree, my name and the date, and that's all they have to do on part 1 of this to begin for us to help match them with URI scholarships. Our goal, and I really want to thank our foundation partners, was to make it as simple as possible for students to do this. So I think we would agree that this takes about maybe 30 seconds, and this gets the process going. Now, once they do this, basically they start coming up with opportunities. So as Danielle said, once they fill out the general application, and again, what's the general application? Let's go back to it. Logging in and these 3 simple questions, we will start matching them with scholarships. And you can click on how this works. Is it just explain scholarship will be awarded for the next academic year, right? There's frequently asked questions. Basically, each one of these they can click on and learn about the Costas Family Endowment, learn about the Henry Nardone Family Scholarship, learn about the James Lenihan Memorial Scholarship. And these are all wonderful donors and family members and benefactors who have done this. And so you can click on the scholarship to learn about it. And when you're ready to apply, you click on apply. Again, these lists are automatically curated, as Danielle said, based on the information that is in our system. So it's pretty good. So let's say we want to take a look at one of these and say, well, what does it mean to apply? Some of them will ask you an essay question, right? Some will ask you to fill out information. And in this one's case, right, this is the James Lenihan Memorial Scholarship. Income from the endowment in mechanical engineering will be awarded annually to a deserving student with financial needs who's experienced. And basically, it goes on to talk more about this. There's an opportunity to thank the donor, and we're really big on our students writing thank you notes. And literally in this case, They just have to talk about, are they a self-starter and have a goal is to become a manager of engineers? Nice and simple. So again, what happened, how I got there, was we had an automatic match of a couple. I clicked on the third one down. Again, it came into a student's match. And to apply, you hit finish and submit, the 2 yellow buttons. And what's nice about this, again, is each time you can learn about the scholarship. But let's say you want to dig deeper into all the scholarships we give, and you like the idea that we matched it, but you want to see what else may be there. Or maybe you're wondering if there's something about yourself that you'd love to know. I'm a first-generation student. I don't know, I play cribbage on the side. I'm over 6'8" tall. Sometimes these scholarships, I have these unique factors. You can actually go into that page. Remember my link, but you see where it says this key search word here? You can actually search for awards, put in a town, put in a major, put in a name. And it's a wonderful way to learn about other scholarships we may have. So besides Danielle's Easy Match system, you also have the ability to do a keyword search in any way, shape, or form. And it's just another way to make sure that you're seeing all the great scholarships. But as Danielle said, you do not have to apply for any that are an auto match. When your student fills out that simple application, if there are no supplementary questions, we will do the work and match for them. And the goal on this was to make it as easy as possible for our students to get access and advantage to our scholarships. Danielle, will you talk a little bit about how some of the different, how some of the committees vary? Like sometimes it's selected by a faculty member or a college, because I know you work with a lot of different people.
Right. So actually, the majority of them are selected by various colleges and majors around campus. So the person who's going to be selecting would log into Academic Works and be able to see the results of the pool and the matches that we're talking about here. And they let us know who they'd like to submit as a name to get the scholarship. And there are probably about 200 or so that we, as an office, that are not like tied to a major, say, or any college specifically. That we here would select and choose, and we would log in. And again, once you're automatically put in a pool for those auto matches, when we go in to look, we'll see all of the names, including your student, who are all qualified for that particular scholarship. Again, we do this from around July, the bulk in July, August, September. We try and wrap up somewhere around November. So it is a long process, but we do go through them all, and we let the students know once they're awarded.
Great, Danielle, thank you. The information is placed when they're awarded on their academic accounts, which is we call a system called eCampus. Again, opens April 15th, closes, they have until June to work on this as well. And as Danielle said, we really are good stewards of the money that is donated to us. And so we enjoy the process of helping match the donors' desires with our wonderful students. And our students have greatly appreciated. Vicki, any common questions you're seeing that you might want to address to the group or provide some clarification?
Sure. So we're getting some questions about Academic Works and whether that is required to apply every year and whether those applications need to be by hand or if they are consolidated.
Okay. And the summary, of course, is the answer for Academic Works is we do like students to do it every year, right?
That is correct. Yes.
Yep. And I will just say that when you see ones that talk about financial need, not all of them require financial need, but again, we use the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. That is something that students complete every year. And that is the one that currently is in the news a lot right now because it has been simplified. It's a great new process long-term. In the short term, there are a few delays that are happening, but Vicki and her team are doing a wonderful job connecting with the federal government, and we look forward to having a simplified process.
Dean, can I mention one more thing related to that?
Please.
We also do have some questions about if they will be in time, if knowing the FAFSA delays that are happening this year. We are not going to start with Academic Works matching until we have those FAFSAs loaded into our system. And then I also do want to mention, just as an aside, that your student will be notified when the Academic Works portal opens. Enrollment Services will send the student an email to their URI email address as well as a text message reminding them to log in there. So that would be something that I would do as a parent, would be just to remind my student that making sure that they go into the Academic Works portal as soon as they get those messages.
Yep. And the only other thing I will add is your colleges work with Academic Work. So many of the colleges send out information to students. I know pharmacy even created a little supplemental aspect. So we do a lot of work notifying students. But the nice thing is you're all on this presentation. And so you can help promote, motivate your student, get involved. We really would love to see more and more students take advantage of this process. So speaking of motivating, this is one of my favorite things. And I'm wondering in the chat, who is willing to admit besides me that you might be a snowplow parent? So we used to hear this thing called a helicopter parent, where you kind of always swirl over your child's head or your student's head. Well, a snowplow parent is a new one, and I am one, which is why I can show this, where basically you are in the snowplow and you're pushing everything out of the way and you're trying to do everything for them. So are there any parents or supporters on this chat that are willing to put in the chat, yup, I'm probably one of them, which is why you would love to do all these scholarship applications for them? Come on, you know who you are. So we wanted to talk about what could you do if you're like me and you're this snowplow parent that's always trying to do everything for them. How can you be positively involved in the process? Okay, so number one, here's how you can help, right? Attend today's session, right? You're there. Thank you for coming. This is fantastic. You know, file the FAFSA every year and have it on file with URI. The FAFSA is currently available. As Vicki said, that we're not going to be opening the process until we make sure we have the information from the federal government. So for those of you who are family members of continuing students, if you haven't done the FAFSA yet for next year, try to get that done over the next month or so. You know, become familiar with the outside resources. I mean, we showed some today, but I love Vicki's tip of going local, looking at local foundations, a really great example. Remind your students to check your emails and texts from URI. We love communicating with your students. Sometimes connecting with them is a challenge. I know we know how it all is with so anything you can do to remind them to always respond to URI emails and texts would be greatly appreciated. Read your local papers and watch out for local scholarships in your community. Spring is a time where many of them become available. You'd be surprised how those local, like for instance, in North Kingstown, we have the Independent and what great scholarships are listed. Keep a shared document with deadlines. Maybe have a Google Drive that you work together with your student. And of course, encourage your student to chat with enrollment services, as we're always here to help. So I want you to think that when you're on this today, what are the things you can do? Again, besides coming with those resources, hopefully you can take the knowledge we shared with you today and work with your student or your maybe friends to help them become familiar with our great URI process. And finally, we want to say thank you. And we're going to, in a second, I'm going to turn off the screen and we're going to be able to answer additional questions. But, you know, you can see how in just, what is this? In just about a half hour, you were able to learn about a lot of great resources. Here's how to contact Vicki, Danielle, and the team, right? We have a phone number, our fax, right? We have a portal when you introduce documents. We have hours of operation. You can book an appointment to talk about financial aid, and that's through a program called Starfish. But we also have a wonderful virtual lobby, and we're here to answer your questions. We can answer about billing, financial aid, enrollment services, also about registration. So there's lots of ways to connect with us. I will say that sometimes we get a little bit busy, especially over the next couple of weeks with our next year students, but we try to provide as many ways that you can contact our team. And Vicki and Danielle, I don't know if you want to give any hints when it's financial aid related, the best way to do so.
Sure, I'm happy to do that. So I would say if you have a quick question, the best way to do that is to go into the virtual lobby. You're just going to be logged into Zoom and you'll be live one-on-one with somebody from enrollment services who can answer any financial aid type questions. If you have a question that is longer in nature, such as a special circumstance for your particular family, then you might want to use the financial aid counseling button or give us a call or stop by our office during our walk-in hours.
Thank you again. So that actually ends our formal part of our presentation. Vicki, any common questions in the chat that you'd like to provide a little bit more clarification for? And while you're doing that, I'm going to hit stop share so I can also see some of the questions as well.
Sure. I don't see any questions other than specific foundations that we haven't really addressed yet. So we'll keep looking right now, but I don't see any that are burning questions at the moment.
Vicki, I see one that's asking, what is the deadline for FAFSA for returning students?
Yep.
We are going to work with you whenever you can get your information in. That is, I want you to hear that. Vicki and our team and Danielle are committed to making sure. So ideally, I would love to have continuing students FAFSAs in. Vicki, what month would you say? Probably by the end of May?
Yes. Yeah, I would definitely say so. I generally recommend that returning students try to complete the FAFSA before they leave campus so that they're able to ask us any questions in person should they have any. We also are going to be hosting 2 virtual FAFSA completion sessions for returning students in the next couple of weeks. We'll be sending emails to students letting them know about that. So if you or your student are having some difficulty with the FAFSA, or if you just want to sit in and be a fly on the wall to hear some tips and tricks, please do join us on one of those sessions. We're more than happy to have you there.
Great, thank you. I appreciate that. So also, we would love to say we were able to see the FAFSAs that have been completed since it opened on December 31st. We cannot, nor can any other school in the country at this point. So we have not yet. So we look forward to receiving those from the federal government. We have our fingers crossed and are hoping every day. We are very close to getting them. We hope it's going to be over the next couple of weeks. But just so everyone knows, there's such a backlog at the federal government that we'll be receiving about 1,000 to 1,500 a day when they start. And Vicki, what do you think? It'll take us about 2 to 3 weeks to start getting them in.
I think that's fair to say. And the federal government has just within the last couple of days started processing FAFSAs, but it's at a very small rate right now because they want to make sure that there aren't any technical issues before they proceed. So know that things are starting to happen. So we're hoping in the next couple of weeks, we'll start to see those FAFSAs coming in.
Great. No, I think that's terrific. And then the only other thing about this is I know there's some questions about merit money and different things. Merit money is awarded at the time of admission. There are conditions based on the admit letter that will tell you. Danielle actually helps chair the committee with myself and a few others. We do our best to help students maintain their merit awards. We want them to have full-time status and maintain a 2.8 GPA. But that is something that happens at that. But again, a lot of the foundation scholarships you saw are also merit-based, and those amounts vary each year based on the application. But we're still learning about the new FAFSA. I will let you know. Vicki and her team have been working on this for over a year, and I can say every day there's a new nuance of what we're learning about the methodology, what they're doing, how it might change, how they're handling certain factors. So we promise we will let you know as we learn along with the rest of the country. But I want to thank everyone for joining again. Hopefully you'll take advantage of those searches. And if you found this helpful, we'd love to hear from you because we love seeing when our students and our families can take advantage of both Rhode Island Foundation and those national awards.
So, and I really want to thank everybody so much for joining us. Thank all of you, these incredible resources as a parent, not only of a junior at URI, but also a high school senior who will be entering college in the fall. This was all super helpful, especially the FAFSA stuff at the end. It's been a little nerve-wracking, so thank you. So you'll see more information on the slide that's up on the Parents Council. If you're interested in joining the Parents Council, I totally encourage you to do so. It was been a great experience to get to know URI better and meet other parents. Thanks to all the council members who joined today's webinar and to all of you who joined. If you'd like to engage and learn more about the work of the council, contact Alicia Johnson directly. Alicia's contact info is on the screen, and thank you to Alicia for being the energy behind organizing today's event. Thank you all for joining. Thanks for the information, and go Rhody.